Assalamu alaikum everyone, and I hope all of you are listening to me. And inshallah, we will be having a very good session on climate reality today. Last time, actually, I wasn't able to share, therefore, I wasn't able to share the screen. But now, let me start, and it will be a very good and interesting session for all of you. So, the presentation is very good, and you are free to ask questions whenever you like. So I will go through the presentation first, and then after that, I will be sharing with you. Uh, uh, then you will be free to basically ask the questions once the presentation is over. Okay. So let us start. I think a couple of people have joined us, and it's good. So let me start with the formal speech from the former Vice President of USA, and then after that, the session will start.
Hello, everyone. I'm Al Gore, and I want to thank you for joining us today for 24 Hours of Reality Countdown to the Future. As all of you know, we're living through truly extraordinary times, and if you're like most people, you look at these challenges that we're facing now, the climate crisis getting worse, the COVID-19 pandemic, structural and institutional racism, the challenges to the operations of democracy, and you ask yourself, what can we do? How do we overcome these truly existential threats that are connected? And how do we build together the sustainable future and the just and fair future that we want and deserve? Well, the presentation you're about to hear and the discussion you're about to join is about these questions. Your host is an incredible climate reality leader that I personally have worked with. And through their presentation, you'll learn the science behind the climate crisis and why it is having such a devastating impact on the ecological balance of our planet. You'll also learn how the climate crisis is connected to the COVID-19 pandemic and is connected to the broader injustices and inequities, not only in the U.S., where I'm located, but in places all around the planet. Just as important, you'll learn that we have the solutions, and you'll learn how we can work together to solve these crises, starting with a green recovery and with a just transition to clean energy and the technologies that can make our world better in every way. You'll learn what you personally can do to make a difference and to help us create the future that we want and that humanity deserves. So before I hand you back to your host, I want to say one other thing. Thank you for being a part of this global conversation. The truth of our circumstances is very clear. We have to solve the climate crisis, and we have the solutions we need today. I know that we can solve the climate crisis. We have the political will. You know it's a renewable resource, but it's really because of people like you who are ready to commit the time and energy and attention and stand up and fight for a better world. Because of you, I know that we will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, former Vice President, US, Mr. Al Gore. And it have really been a good experience working with you. And in fact, the training that I recently got from the former Vice President was fantastic. So let us start with today's session, and it's 24 Hours of Reality, the Climate Reality Project. Okay, and let me start with the presentation formally. So this is a picture of our globe, and it's also known as the blue marble. It was taken by the Apollo mission in 1970s, and you can see how beautiful is the planet Earth. All the life, all the human triumphs, all the victories, all the wars, everything have occurred on this planet. It's our only home in the whole universe. In the whole universe, not just the solar system. So it is what we have. And this is what is at stake at the moment because of the climate change, because of the climate crisis, because of the changing patterns of climate. Let us see and study what is climate change actually, and how can we be an agent of change in a positive way rather than an agent of destruction for this our home and planet Earth. Now, this is the sun horizon, the upper two layers of atmosphere. atmosphere, the troposphere, and the stratosphere. And you can see how thin these layers are and how thin the atmosphere is. This is where all the weather occurs. It is this where all the clouds, rain, everything occurs. And that is very important and vital for the life on Earth. Because if we damage the atmosphere, if we pollute the atmosphere, then all the life that is present on Earth is really in danger. Is really in danger of getting extinct. So this layer of atmosphere is very important and crucial for the life to sustain on planet Earth. And this is very nice picture taken by the NASA, and you can see the horizon, sun horizon, and troposphere and stratosphere in this picture. So let us see what actually is the climate change and what actually occurs. So I will go with the greenhouse effect, and all of us, most of us already know about that. Solar radiation in the form of light wave passes through the atmosphere, it comes from the sun, it heats up the earth, which is very important, and it warms the earth. Because of this warmth, the life continues on the planet. And if there would be no heat, there would be no life. Because the earth would have been very cold. In fact, around minus 15 degrees centigrade, the temperature of the earth will be. So it's very good that the earth gets warmed by the sun, and due to this warmth, we have a temperature which is good for the life. Some energy is radiated back into the space in the form of infrared rays, and some way of it is absorbed. Natural cycle. So what actually occurs basically is that due to extra burning of fossil fuels and increase in carbon dioxide, more of the outgoing infrared radiation is trapped. And the greenhouse gases, they trap the extra heat which is going out, and that increases the temperature on the earth. That is the cause of the global warming. So it's not the greenhouse effect itself, it's enhanced greenhouse effect due to man-made pollutants. That is the cause, and that causes the temperature of earth to rise. So extra layer of gases which we are emitting through our activities, anthropogenic activities, that are the one which are causing the rise in the temperature. So 152 million tons of man-made global warming pollution enters into the atmosphere every 24 hours. Is it just like as it's an open sewer and we are dumping all waste in it? So it's a huge pollution, and this pollution is really very alarming for our planet, for our life to sustain on planet Earth. And these are all the major sources: air transportation, you can see coal mining, land transport, industrial agriculture, forest burning, industrial processes. So these are all the activities, man-made activities, which are causing this increase in the greenhouse gases, which are piling up and warming the earth temperature, which is piling up into the earth's atmosphere and rising the temperature of the earth. So the largest source of global warming pollution is the burning of fossil fuels, and you can see the trend again after age of industrialization, as I always talk about in my lectures, that it's after the industrialization you can see a gradual rise in the fossil fuels burning, and this rise is very much directly proportional to the rising temperature and rising anomalies of the weather in the globe. And let us see the surface global temperature that has also departed from the average, and you can see it's on the rise, and this is very alarming. This is very alarming situation. And then again, we have more than 72% chance that 2020 will be the new hottest year ever. So these are really alarming statistics. These are very alarming statistics that we really need to work and think. So 19 of the 20 hottest years on the record have occurred in the last since 2001. 19 of the 20 hottest years on the record have occurred in the last 2 decades. And if we further narrow down the study, the hottest of all have been the last five. All the last 5 years have been the most hottest, and now they are saying that 2020 will be even hotter than these last five hottest years. So this is a very alarming situation. It's a very alarming situation for all of us, and we really need to think, and we really need to work, have to study how the climate is affecting, and we have to work for the mitigation because these are very alarming situations. Miami, Florida just recorded the hottest week ever again in June 29, 2020. Then in Australia, in January, because the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere, when we have winter in southern hemisphere, it's summers, and when we have summers here in northern hemisphere, in southern hemisphere, it's winter. It's the opposite way. And Australia had around 44 degrees centigrade temperature on January 4, which is very, very high temperature. It was all-time new record. This is picture of Lahore, and then the picture, and then also the temperature in Jacobabad, which was more than 51 degree centigrade on June 2nd. So you can see the weather anomalies here in Pakistan as well. Temperature across Europe has been on the record since 2019. Germany, Netherlands, UK, Belgium all broke their all-time high temperature records. Karachi heat wave, very alarming, and we all of us know about this. More than 2,000 people they lost their lives to this Karachi heat wave that was in August 2015. People died of thirst. People died of dehydration, and that was a very alarming situation. It was very heart-breaking, you can say, and it was something very dismal situation of affairs that we have to face. So very alarming situations again. 93% of all the extra heat trapped by the man-made global warming goes into the oceans. 93% of all the extra heat trapped by the man-made pollution basically goes into the ocean, and this warms the ocean. And when the oceans are warm, they become very violent. There are cyclones, then there are big hurricanes. They come in these oceans, and these are really going to create huge problems, huge problems. So let us see the ocean temperature. It has set a new record. Again, you can see the rise in the temperatures and rise in the temperatures, and this is really setting a big. So you can see the ocean temperatures, they are also on the rise, and since 2000 they are on the warmer side, not on the cooler side. So again, a very alarming situation for all of us. And then 2020 is likely to set a new record again. So this is the normal hydrological cycle. We have evaporation, we have precipitation, and water returns to the sea. So the normal water cycle is very good, because you can see water evaporates, then there is precipitation, and then the water returns to the sea. And but what actually is occurring due to the enhanced uh, that we have actually made this hydrological cycle very fast. Because of the global warming, now there is more evaporation, there is more precipitation, and more water returns. So we are now seeing a surge, or you can see increase in freakish weather, in freakish and unpredictable precipitation patterns, and that is also very dangerous. Philippines are around 578,000 people affected by the typhoon. Again, in India and Bangladesh, they were both affected. Sundarbans, the area, and you can see again large population affected with typhoon Amphan. And in India, it was a very big crisis, because they were facing already the COVID, and then they had this cyclone which hit the shore or coastal areas of India. And we can also have the example of Karachi, and 345 millimeter rain in one day, more than 41 deaths, very alarming situation. And all the Karachi was just like you can say there were lakes in the streets, and all the Karachi was filled with water, and there was the water entered the homes, into the shops, into the apartments, and the people were you can say were without even their home and shelter, on the streets in the rainwater. That was a very alarming situation. So the gravest effects of all the attacks on the environment are suffered by the poor. Pope Francis have said this way long time before. It's the poorest that are suffered by the environment, by the gravest effects of the environment. So we really have to think. We really have to be aware of how to mitigate, and how to basically overcome these anomalies, or how to have solutions for these weather patterns and these this climate change that is occurring and that is affecting especially the poorest people more. Precipitation anomalies, you can see since in the last we see last 50 years or last 70 years, it has on increased. And this is the data since 2016, and the weather precipitation anomalies have really increased. And now we are seeing this phenomena of rain bombs. Rain bombs mean that suddenly there is huge rain and so much rain that it totally disturbs the lives. It totally damages our lifestyle, totally damages everything, the infrastructure, the daily routine, and it actually makes whole even the economy of the city to stop. We have seen that in Karachi. People were unable to go to home or to offices. People were unable to carry on their daily activities because of the rain and the water that has entered the houses. So this phenomena of rain bombs, this is a really very alarming situation, which is coming in the coming, which is coming in the future days, and we really have to think, we really have to work on this. Hotter year typicals have more fires. If you see around the globe, in US or in the different countries, if there is more warm temperature, there are more fires, and that is also a big problem that is going to occur. So Arizona and USA, wildfire have already burned hundreds of square miles in Arizona. In California, you can see. Then Australia last year, thousands of animals they died. They were burned alive due to this fire. Kangaroos, koala, and so many other animals. And that was very devastating. So these are very crucial times. And worldwide extreme weather catastrophe again on the rise. You see storms, floods, extreme temperatures, and these all graphs, statistics are showing or pointing us the way. They are making us think that we really need to take steps. We really need to move forward. We really have to think that global warming and climate change is a serious and a biggest threat. And there are again people who are saying that it's a bigger threat than even COVID, and that's the biggest threat that human as a civilization as a civilization humans will face in the future. So we really need to work on that. Top 10 cities at the risk from the sea level rise. Again, South Asia, Kolkata, Bombay, Dhaka. Karachi is again the next one on this list. So we really have to be vigilant. And this is really going to be a very big problem. This is Miami, Florida. Uh, Octopus in the city streets. And similar, there was a kind of when this year there were rains in Karachi. So there were again pictures that was being shared on internet about crocodiles in the city. I didn't share it for the purpose because according to some that was fake, but some people claim that no, they themselves saw the crocodiles in Karachi streets. So it was a kind of controversial, therefore I didn't share. But this is an actual picture of octopus in the streets of Florida. So this means that in future we have to be very well prepared for any weather anomaly or weather change or any abrupt raining season and something and changes like these. So we have to be prepared for that in future. And this is Kiribati is the first nation to purchase land in another country to house its climate refugees. And in future, it's a big problem. The climate refugees, the environmental refugees, they will be the one and will be huge numbers. Because if the sea level rises, then we will have a big problem of climate refugees, environmental refugees. And we have to tackle them. And it's going to be a very big problem for the political leaders, for the world as a whole. So we really need to think, we really need to take decisions uh, at this moment, at now for our future. Very important. So climate change will likely to lead food and water shortages, pandemic diseases, disputes over refugees, resources and destruction by natural disaster in the regions across the globe. Absolutely. So this is a big problem that is going to occur. And as a nation, you know, Pakistan is also having climate change and food security. It's a big problem here in Pakistan as well. Deaths attributed to ambient air pollution. You can see again the South Asia or the Asian countries are more prone to it. Example from China. A study of 324 cities in China found 15 to 22% increase in the COVID cases in elevated levels of nitrogen dioxide and particulate matter. And I did myself a study in Lahore, and this was published in the Express Tribune newspaper in April 2020. Air is a shared resource. We must keep it clean as the pollution aggravates the misery of the virus patients. So we really need to think. And this is what we say is a synergistic effect. Synergistic effect when different pollutants or when there are different pollutants in the air, they have a synergistic effect, which is much higher than their sum. So we need to think. Now comes the question, can we change? Yes, we have the solutions at hand. It's just the will that we need. So let us see what has the technology or science have given us in these latest years, or fruits of technology or fruits of science. Let us see. So in 2000 projection was worldwide wind capacity will reach 30 gigawatt by 2020 or 2010. But reality, if we see, by 2019 that goal was exceeded by a factor of 22 times. Thanks to technology, thanks to the research and the scientists who are working, let us see the global wind energy capacity at present is on the rise. All the developed countries and now even the developing countries are moving towards it. Very positive sign. Let us see the projection of solar energy. The solar energy market will grow 1 gigawatt per year by 2010. Let us see the reality. That goal was exceeded by 17 times, and even in 2019 it was exceeded by 121 times. Very positive. Again, a very hopeful situation. World solar photovoltaic installations on the rise, on the boom. Cost of crystalline silicon decreasing. So the cost of solar panel is decreasing, and solar panels are increasing, which is a very positive sign. And storage capacity is also increasing. Let us see. Enough solar energy reaches the earth every hour to fill the world energy needs for a full year. We just need to harness this energy, capture this energy, and then we can be energy sufficient. The global cumulative storage capacity of the increasing energy storage deployment developed from 2017 to 18 and are projected to double again. The storage capacity is increasing of the batteries for these solar plants, which is a very positive sign. Let us see example from Pakistan. Kazim solar power plant, very good, and now 100 megawatt is in the main grid. It's more than 1000 megawatt basically power plant, or the project is of more than 1000. It will produce 1000 megawatts, but 100 is in the cycle. It is in production. Very positive sign. Global electric cars are on the rise. Pakistan recently have made its electric vehicle policy, moving towards smoke-free cars. Very positive. Again, this is the Paris Agreement. Every nation in the world agreed to work together to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by mid-century. So all the countries have agreed to this, and inshallah, the future is bright and prosperous and hopeful. Over 240 global companies have made a commitment to go 100% renewable. All these major companies, they have made a commitment to go to renewable, which is very positive. And the most important and the biggest, I can say, good news that we can say as a nation, we should be proud of it, that Pakistan has achieved Sustainable Development Goal 13 climate action 10 years ahead of its time. And it's very good, very positive step by the government. And I think we should appreciate it. Aside from the political difference that we have, the government is investing in the solar, the government is investing in the wind, and the billion tree tsunami or 10 billion tree tsunami. That is simply fantastic. And this is a very hopeful picture for all of us, that we as a country moving towards the right direction. We as a country are moving towards the right direction, and we are taking the right steps, which will be benefit for our country, for our generation, for our especially young people who are the future leaders. And that's a very positive, very